Have you ever wondered what important questions you should be asking before you list your home for sale? If so, then keep on watching because we're going to run through the frequently asked questions we get from sellers and how I coach them through from initial meeting until listing their property for sale. Before we get started, I'm Stephanie Nause with the Homeplicity Realty Group here at Keller Williams, and without further ado,
the first question is, can you break down what open bidding is?
yeah, so I'm the listing agent in our team. When offers come in on one of my listings, there's certain things that I have always had to disclose to other agents and AKA their buyers. I've always had to disclose the number of offers that are on the table. So the number of written offers that have come in. The potential changes that could roll out with the open bidding is there's things that the seller could choose to disclose, like price, conditions, closing date, basically some of the things that would impact the negotiations on the offer and an impact in how other people would structure their offer as well.
It's kind of a game changer to multiple offers.
I mean, if it actually happens, because it's something that people have to opt into. And I think that's one of the misconceptions is that sellers don't automatically have to disclose all the contents of the offer. So they have to decide that they want to do it. And I think that they're going to have conversations with their realtors and choose when they should do this in a strategic fashion.
How does this benefit the sellers?
I mean, if we can get sellers to adopt the strategy, then I think that there could be certain situations where this would be advantageous. The big problem that I see for sellers agreeing to this is why would they? When oftentimes if there's 5, 6, 10, 85, like there was a property in the news a couple weeks ago where that happened, why would they disclose those numbers when the difference between the second highest offer and the top offer is $50,000, $85,000, $100,000, $200,000, right? They're not going to. It's not to the seller's advantage to do that. And I think part of the reason why we've seen these crazy bids in prices going up is because they're blind offers and that number isn't disclosed. So you get someone who's really eager, who submits a really high price. It's like knocks all the other ones out of the park. So the seller obviously is going to be motivated, especially when we're in a seller's market, to take that offer. And then that sets a precedent so that future sales will continue to sell at that number. So yeah. You know, I think the reason that these changes have come about is to try and add an extra layer of transparency to the real estate market that wasn't there before. And it's not a free-for-all where it just automatically happens. The seller still has to opt into it. So I think for the most part, depending on what type of market we're in, I think that the seller likely will not disclose unless it's in their best interest. When would that be? That would be in a scenario where we're kind of at a stalemate. Usually it's near the end where we have 2 or 3 offers. Should you be setting up your property for multiple offers? We're in a market where the only properties that I would be listing for multiple offers would be something really, really unique, or if my client's goal in holding back on offers for a week is just to get the property sold in 1 week versus hitting the highest price possible. I feel like there are certain instances where a multiple offer scenario would be beneficial to sellers, and that's a case-by-case basis. That's something that I'm sitting down and discussing with my clients when we're coming up with a pricing strategy. But for right now, if our client's goal is to net the highest price possible on their sale, then typically we're looking at a more traditional pricing structure, which is listing close to where we think the property will sell and building in a little bit of leeway for negotiation. And we figure that out by taking a look at what properties have been selling for the last 30 to 60 days. If it's 98% or 95%, then we'll typically try and build in a little bit of a buffer to allow buyers the opportunity to negotiate. Multiple offers, I'm on the fence. It depends. If we have a really unique property and my clients just really want to get it sold in a week, then there's certain instances when we would do it. But most of my clients want to just hit the best price possible. What happens after you list? This is a great question. At the time of listing, typically We will sit down, we'll sign all the paperwork, you'll give me a key. I put a lockbox on the property so that buyers can access it. If it's a house, we'll put a for sale sign up so that people can drive by and see, and they can call me, and it's just easier for buyers to find the home. You'll get copies of all the paperwork. It'll go to my office. We'll give them instructions on how you want to have the showings flowing and laid out. And then you should expect to have between 3 to 5 showings a week. Every Friday, we have a meeting with all of our sellers. So we'll send a weekly update with how many bookings we had on the property, the link to your Google Drive that has all the feedback from all the agents in it, and that you can look at daily. And then an update of anything new that got listed, anything new that sold, if we're having any open houses this weekend, and any different marketing pieces that we've done and worked on for the property. So you get your weekly update. If we're not hitting the 3 to 5 showings, especially within the first 2 weeks, we'll probably have a conversation about improving the price. I'm always available to have these conversations with you, so feel free to reach out if your property is actively listed, or we are having communication daily, especially if there's any really good or really negative feedback that we get from agents around the property, or if something new gets listed. I'm looking every day. We set up our clients on alerts too as well, so that you'll see anything new that got listed and anything that got sold, but it all comes in a summary once a week. And you should expect that it will take probably between 30 to 60 days to get your home sold, just based on the market. And if we think about it, if most buyers are going to look at between 10 to 15 homes before making a decision, and we're looking at 3 to 5 homes a week, we can kind of reverse engineer backwards what that would look like and figure out if we're on track. So once we get an offer, we will set up a time to review it together and make any adjustments and counter offers, and it kind of goes from there. Typically the photos and stuff, depending on how much marketing and how many videos and virtual tours and floor plans and all that stuff, basic photos I can get back within 24 hours, but I would suggest some of the more complex stuff is going to be between 48 and 72 hours. We just want to build that in. If we need to schedule movers, cleaners, stagers, I would expect that from the time we list the paperwork and come up with the start date, it's going to be at least 1 week between when we come up with the plan to getting the property live on MLS. But this is on a case-by-case basis, and it really just depends on what we've discussed, how fast my sellers want to move, how quickly you can get everything organized and done, and depending on the time of year, how available all my trades are. Like if my stager's booked up, if my movers are booked up, if our photographer's booked up, right? So we definitely, in busier times of year, like the fall market and the spring market, we want to make sure that we have enough leeway, at least a week leeway, to get the property up live and on the market. And then we just wait for an offer to come in, and hopefully we have something that is exciting to you, and we can bat it back and forth until we have an accepted agreement, and then the home purchase starts if you're working off of our traditional plan right now. So that's it. That's how we coach our sellers. Those are the most commonly asked questions that sellers ask me, either ahead of us meeting or at our actual listing presentations. If there's any questions that I didn't answer, feel free to comment down below or reach out to me directly. If you're interested to know what the value of your property is in this market, I would love to hear from you. We'll actually include in the link down below our link to our free online home evaluator, so you can get an idea of what your property would sell for if you're not quite ready to talk to an agent. If you're interested in knowing what would be available to you if you were going to trade up to a different property, or if you were going to downsize, oftentimes our sellers do like to start with that, just having a conversation about what's available out there before they decide, do we even want to sell? I'm happy to have that conversation with you. As always, please like this video if you enjoyed the content. I hope that you'll consider subscribing to our channel. Feel free to follow us at Homeplicity Realty on Facebook and Instagram for testimonials, blogs, lots more videos and good stuff. And until next time,